Came up into the workshop this morning because I needed to make some new holes for my belt, or for my belts, because I've now reached the weight that I was at when I was about 20 years of age, which is a pretty good achievement, I think, although I need to turn my fat into muscle now, and that's going to take a while. I guess it's doable. And it had been raining and I have a leak in the roof, so the water ends up on the stove. So I thought, well, I'll just light the stove. I had a load of oily stuff in there, which is not mineral oil, which would burn very well, coconut oil, in fact. And it got the fire going, but it's still quite cold in here, actually. About 18 degrees. It feels a little bit chilly because the fire wasn't burning hot, but it's doing nicely now. So I haven't been playing the guitar at all lately. I had a kind of a heavy cold. I don't want to call it anything else, and it seems to be. I'm getting over it, but it's taking a while. And the problem is that it affects the hearing, and I find that when my ears are not working properly, I can't seem to get any interest in playing. I mean, I should carry on with it anyway, just for the mechanicals, but I've had a couple of, maybe 2 or 3 days without playing at all. And also my work has tailed off a lot. I worked for the first 3 days of this week, but now I have no jobs on the table. So it's 2 days before the weekend. It's Thursday, so I'm quite happy actually not to work for another 2 days. But I'm in a condition where I would actually really like to have some coin, and the only way currently that I have of getting coin is through work. And so really what I need to do, I've understood finally, is to actually sell my work. I've never done it. Again, my conceit has just led me to, I work at minimum rate, the minimum rate, and so I get a lot of requests because I'm a good translator. I'm reliable and very experienced. But if I were to sell my services a bit more dearly, I could probably get far more lucrative work, but it would require a bit of advertising and a bit of promotion, and my laziness and my conceit have prevented me from doing anything like that. Most of my colleagues earn more than I do, most of my colleagues of comparable experience, shall we say. I can do advertising. I've had several confirmations over the years that my advertising work is good, and promotion, institutional text. I can write English. I have an understanding of the language. I love poetry, and this is my forte, really. And also the fact that I understand technical matters to a basic level. I wouldn't say that I was any genius, but because I'm interested in DIY, and I've always been good with my hands, or capable anyway. So this is something I need to get stuck into, but I'm quite happy actually to do nothing. I'm still walking, but I have an inguinal hernia, which appeared last time I lost a lot of weight, which was around 10 years ago, after I had a fear for a brain tumor. It seemed that at the hospital they would want me to have a brain tumor, and I declined. And so because I thought there was something wrong, when there was something wrong, I'd become anosmic, which is what happens when you lose your sense of smell suddenly. And that's quite a difficult one to deal with, I found, because when you lose your sense of smell, you lose your sense of identity to some extent. It's Smell is very much connected with the world of emotion, and when you smell a particular type of odor, um, then that will evoke those emotions and that familiarity, and suddenly that had stopped. So without a sense of smell, you go into somebody's house and it has that a characteristic odor or smell. It might not be an unpleasant smell, but you recognize the people, and we recognize people by the pheromones that are released. So that was a struggle from that point of view, but I never seemed to get a brain tumor, unless the fact that I'm talking on the internet to nobody is a sign of that. So I might have that type of a tumor. But I lost a lot of weight at that time rather quickly without doing any physical exercise particularly. And the upshot was that I got an inguinal hernia and also some kind of testicular problem that was apparently not serious, and it has recurred a couple of times maybe, but in a minor level since then. But my Italian doctor explained that it was a question of lymph, that the lymph in my body was flowing now more freely, and it wasn't finding anywhere to go, and so it was building up in the testicles, and it could be drained off, but it wasn't serious. I actually found a way of draining it off. So if anybody has that problem, I know this probably sounds quite weird. I completely invented it by myself, but it does actually work. If your testicles, if your stones should swell in the morning when you wash, and while you're still damp, as it were, cover them with baking soda, with bicarbonate of soda, a generous dose of bicarbonate of soda in the underpants, and just keep them on. And to my surprise, after about an hour, my trousers were wet, and I realized that the bicarbonate had somehow drawn out water through the testes. It was very good, in fact, in the end, and I did that several times, and I've since done it from time to time, and it always draws out a small amount, but if the problem is severe, it will draw out a little bit more. But I've not had anything like that kind of recurrence since, and it's probably a sign of some kind of a malfunction. But bicarbonate of soda is a very healing substance in certain conditions, and I always have plenty of bicarb in the house. Bicarbonate of soda and vitamin C are the two things that I like to have in high quantities. Vitamin C, I mean ascorbic acid in powder form. Those are very useful and can be used together, of course, to make fizzy stuff and for cleaning and all sorts of stuff. So there's a little bit of a random idea for anybody. But so the inguinal hernia, really, I went into hospital. I went to hospital to find out what the situation was, and they booked me in for the operation. And then fortunately I'd come to my senses before the operation date. And then they, of course, what they'll do is they'll say it'll be in 6 months' time, and then you get a telephone call 2 months later, a space has opened up, you can come in, can you come in this afternoon? And I wasn't at all interested in going at that point because the problem seemed to be much better. So I thanked them and declined. I didn't mean to make people waste time. I've done that several times with hospital appointments. And now I don't bother making any because I know that I won't go. There's just no point in it. But my arrival at that conclusion has taken a little while, and so hence a few missed appointments. But the issue with an inguinal hernia is that the muscles and the tendons in that part of the body have become weak, and this is obviously a result of becoming very overweight and having a gut, kind of double gut situation, which is just so unhealthy. And the answer to it is to strengthen those muscle groups. That's the permanent answer. You just need to strengthen those muscle groups, and you can find stuff on YouTube about how to do that. If anybody should suffer from a hernia of any description, it's a muscular kind of thing, really. The body is not meant to develop hernias, and it does it because because I haven't kept myself, ripped. I'm a guy, I should be ripped. I think that's true of all guys. If you're not ripped, then you're in suboptimal health. And that's how I now see it. I wouldn't have dreamt of, I would say, anything like this a year ago. It's astonishing to me that I should even think such a thing, but now I actually believe that that's the case. I got some weights when I first came to the UK, but didn't really use them much. I enrolled at the gym. I'm still enrolled, in fact, and didn't understand it. I tried some of the isotonic exercise machines and found them so difficult that after a while I just carried on swimming. They have a pool. And I didn't really understand the point of it, you see. I guess this is the problem. But the past, again, since the awakening, I've suddenly noticed that I still have some weights in the house. And so I've dusted them off, and I now use them morning and evening. And I just do a few exercises. I don't do a lot, but I can see the point of it now at last. And of course, I probably need to do quite a few more of those exercises to try to get my core muscles strong, and the chances of me developing a six-pack, I think, at my age and in my condition are slim. But I'm not doing it for the six-pack. I'm doing it because I understood finally that that's how we should look, really, and that's how to live a long and healthy life, and an active life, and die when the Lord tells you to go into the mountain. That's how I see it now. So there we are. I thought I'd make a short video, and I'm actually thinking of talking about the rapture, which I think is a subject that needs to be addressed in terms of the Christian walk. But I'll leave that. I'll make a second video about my my completely random views on the rapture. I'm sure people will have their own conclusions on such matters, but I'll share mine, and I'll wish everybody a blessed day, and I'll maybe speak to you soon. God bless.